Hello and welcome to Senior Night, as some call it, but others will be calling it Rizzy Night for the lone senior on this varsity boys basketball team, Rizwan Hyder. It's about to be a special 4 quarters of basketball. My name is Dominic Osher. I'm here with my co-announcer Emily Hood, bringing you tonight's action here on FHNtoday.com/live. The Knights will be hosting the Troy Buchanan Trojans in tonight's game. The Trojans come in tonight's game with a record of 14-9.
Starting the game off with a three-point shot from Drew Dieters. Hopeful there with a rebound. Hopeful, a strong defensive player here for the Knights. He currently leads the team with rebounds. Hyder taking a shot from the top of the arc, a three-point shot. That ball bounces off the back of the rim, and the Trojans return, led by Drew Dieters.
Emily, Rizwan talked to me before the game, and he is feeling it as that is number 11. Looks like Andrew Nett hitting up three there for the Trojans. Rizwan says he is either going to have the worst game of his career or the best game of his career tonight, with all the spotlight on him, as he's the only senior on the team, as he chases after this one and wins possession back for the Knights. He's one of the best shooters on the team and self-proclaimed like Kobe.
Trojans here once again on the offense as that pass goes to number 11, Andrew Nett for the Trojans. Nett netting that three-pointer, no pun intended there, as the Knights then began to take the ball back up the court, led by Miles Montgomery.
What a start as Drew Shear tries to counter the Trojans three with three of his own, unable to do so. But Andrew Nett has been one of the top scorers all year long for this Trojans team, averaging 13.7 points per game, shooting on a field goal percentage of 46. From the three-point line, that is where he does most of his damage, as he's done already tonight with 2 threes of his own, as he's shooting 40% from beyond the arc. That is number 44, Jim King, with the layup. King is the top scorer overall on the team, averaging 13.9. He's also the tallest player on the Trojans, standing in at 6'6". He'll be a true tough challenge for this Knights team to stop all night long, as Rizwan Hyder gives it off to Miles Montgomery. And there
Rizwan Hyder there, a huge three-pointer. The crowd erupting here for Rizzy Night here, Senior Night FHN.
Yeah, Emily, Rizzy Night, and the crowd is feeling it. It is a packed house over there in the student section, all cheering for Rizwan Hyder.
Jim King there earning a layover as the Trojans take an early lead, up by 7, 10-3 here with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first period. Hyder again from the top of the arc. That ball easily rebounded by number 1, Tyson Ludwig for the Trojans. Ludwig going to Myers, Todd Myers. Todd Myers pushing through all of the Knights' defense, but that ball is easily rebounded by 6'5" junior John Gerald.
6'5" is right, Emily, and he has been one of the top rebounders all year long for this Knights team, averaging 3 per game, using that height to his advantage.
Trojans again easily weaving through the Knights defense, and an early timeout here is called by Howell North. Dom, what do you think the Knights are thinking being down by 9 this early here in the first period?
Well, Emily, they might want to start becoming a little bit more balanced on offense. It is Rizwan's night, and it is Rizzy night, but they got to start trying to get Anthony Hopeful the ball, John Gerald's ball, and their point guard, Miles Montgomery, more scoring opportunities, and none of them have even attempted a shot so far. So I talked with Rizwan Hyder before the game in a Facebook Live interview, and here's some more details about him. He is going to the University of Illinois next year, and he's been playing the sport of basketball since the age of 5. And where he began his basketball career was over in Chicago, Illinois. Now he's moved to the St. Louis, Missouri area, and now plays here for FHN. He does not intend on playing basketball in college, but he'll certainly continue his club career past high school.
Drew Shear and Miles Montgomery leading the charge here for the Knights after that timeout. Hyder, covered by 2 Trojan defenders, finds Darrells. Darrells goes back to Hopel at the top of the paint. Hopel securing that rebound for the Knights, putting them at 5. A beautiful passing play there for the Knights to get them some more points on the board.
Big basket there by Hopel, who is the Knights' new leading scorer on the year, as Justin Matthews-Williams is out tonight for the Knights. Hopel is averaging 11 points per game on 37 field goal percentage. He's one of the more crucial players on this offense, and without Matthews-Williams, he's going to have to step it up along with Miles Montgomery on the offensive end.
Drew Dieters taking his time here at the top of the court, looking for a pass. The Knights play a combination of man-to-man and zone defense, often having more success with their zone defense. The Trojans firing that ball fast to Tyson Ludwig. And a foul is called against number 15, Drew Shear.
So far, Emily, the Trojans have played a more aggressive offense. They've been scoring quickly and shooting quickly as well. But on that possession there, the Trojans kind of slowed it down a little bit. And you talked about the Knights' zone defense. Did not allow the Trojans any room on offense, and has now led to a possession in favor of Francis Howell North.
And like you said there, Dom, a charging foul against their top scorer, number 11, Andrew Nett, leading to an offensive possession for the Knights. And here comes Miles Montgomery. Montgomery looking for a pass, goes to Shear on the wing. Shear with not much room goes back to Montgomery. Montgomery fighting against Tyson Ludwig. Montgomery weaving through Ludwig, looking for Shear, but that pass goes a bit right, and the Knights have another turnover in favor of the Trojans.
Looks like Montgomery was trying to get fellow junior Drew Shear to go a little bit more inside, make a bit of a move, and try to get to the hoop. However, Shear had a bit of miscommunication there with his fellow teammate there, and it led to a turnover in favor of Troy. We'll see the Knights can get a little bit better communication as the game grows older, as Rizwan Hyder is defending number 14, that is Todd Myers.
A nice passing game there by the Trojans with Todd Myers, Andrew Nett, and Jim King, who eventually got that layup there for the Trojans. Hyder back to Montgomery. Montgomery telling his teammates to try and get open, looking for a pass. He goes to Hopel on the wing. Hopel against 14, Todd Myers. Hopel goes back to Rizwan Hyder. Hopel and Todd Myers squaring up. Hopel takes top shot from the top of the arc, and that ball goes out of bounds off of Drew Dieters for the Trojans, and the Knights will gain possession. Coming in for the Knights, number 3, Matt Smallwood, replacing at number 35, John Gerolds.
Looks like a bit of a position change here all around the court for the Knights as Rizwan Hyder moves to a more central role as he tries the 3 and nearly sinks it for the Knights, and then Max Smallwood comes in playing a guard position for Howell North.
Jim King earning himself that 3-point play, earning himself the Troy layup, and will head to the line for a free throw. King lining up for his first pass, and he sinks that basket, putting the Trojans up 17-5. Montgomery to Hyder. Hyder looking for a pass. Hopel not able to get open, fighting against number 14, Todd Myers. Miles Montgomery looking for that 3-point shot. His ball bounced off the back of the rim, bounced too high, and possession will go back to the Trojans. Montgomery, a spectacular 3-point shooter, has earned many top points and is one of the top scorers for this Knights team, a key part of their offense.
Right about that, Emily. He's attempted the most threes on this team all year long with 79, shooting on a healthy 31%. They need him to get going from beyond the arc tonight. They want to try to become a more elusive and diverse offense, as that is Drew Shear checking out of the game.
Dieters goes to Net. Net guarded there well by Rizwan Hyder, and he's forced to go back to Drew Dieters at the top of the arc. Dieters goes back to Todd Myers. A pass again to Jim King leads to a lot of success for the Knights. Their defense struggling here against this Trojan offense, and Jim King putting up a lot of points on the board tonight for the Trojans.
Talked about his success on the offensive end, Emily, on defense as well. With that 6'6" height advantage, Jim King is nearly unstoppable on both ends of the court. Offense, the Trojans can just keep feeding him the ball, and if he drives through the lane, I can tell you no one's going to want to get in his way. It's like a freight train. On the defensive end of the ball, if anyone tries to drive on him, he can easily get the block and then the rebound. The 6'6" advantage for him puts him above most defenders in this game.
And a nice shot there from the other net brother, Braden Net, resulting in a timeout for Howell North. Dom, how do you think the Knights can improve their defense here as they are down 5-22 in the first period?
Well, Emily, while there's really no way of stopping Jim King, they can try to slow him down. He is the focal point of this Trojans offense, and they can maybe put two guys on him inside the paint and so on. They can maybe force him to pass it outside to some of the point guards and shooting guards on this Trojans team. Even though they've been looking pretty good so far as well. That's pretty much one of the only ways you can stop this Trojans offense is by slowing King down.
The Knights looking to break some momentum and gain some of their own here on senior night. These Knights pep band cheerleaders and crowd trying to gain and put some energy back into this team. Montgomery goes to Hyder. Hyder well defended by the Trojans as he's forced to pass back to Montgomery. Hyder passing to Cameron Lewis, a sophomore here on this team. New to varsity, came up and pulled through for these Knights off of their JV team. Max Smallwood there trying for three. That ball bounces off the rim. Hyder for three. Bouncing off the outside of the rim. And a foul is called.
Right now, Emily, it's looking like a little bit of a blowout as it's been the last two games for this Knights team. But if they want to try to get back into this game, it's going to be behind Rizwan Hyder. As we mentioned multiple times already, it's his night, and if he can start nailing some of these threes, the crowd will get on their feet and start making much more noise and try to turn the momentum back in the Knights' favor.
Montgomery once again from the top of the court. He goes to Hopel. Hopel fighting against Todd Myers goes to Hyder, who goes back to Montgomery. Montgomery looking for an open passing lane. Cameron Lewis against 6'6" Jim King, not able to find anything open. And Montgomery is back again. Hopel goes to Max Smallwood from the top of the arc. Cameron Lewis for two. That ball bouncing off the back of the rim, and the Trojans recover. And here comes Drew Dieters.
Just 40 seconds left on the clock now here in the first quarter.
Dieters and the Trojans stealing some time, and a great steal there from Anthony Hopel, rushing down the court looking for that layup, and he gets it. A lovely play there, turning defense to offense here for the Knights.
Great read there by Hopel on the pass. He intercepted it beautifully and was able to take it down the court and get his second basket of the game to drop.
Dieters killing as much time as possible off of this clock. Canyon Hopel battling it out. And a Hopel again with a steal, but Dieters recovers and sends it down to Jim King. A nice block there from Cameron Lewis to round off this first period for the Knights.
Yeah, Emily, it looked like that was number 44, Jim King, who had enough time to take the shot, but he tried to pass it instead to an option who was a little bit more wide open than he was. However, there was not enough time on the clock to get the basket to go in, and that's how the first quarter will end. The Knights trailing by a score of 22-7 here in the second half of the senior night doubleheader. My name is Dominic Oster. I'm here with Emily Hood, bringing you tonight's action here on FHNtoday.com/live.
And like you said, Dom, the Knights here looking to regroup, down 7-22 here on senior night. The Knights changing up some of their players on their teams. Number 35, John Derlitz, comes back into the game for number 3, Max Smallwood. Derlitz looking to face off against 6'6" Jim King, who has done a great job offensively here for the Trojans. These two, with their impressive height, can hopefully square off and have a lovely game against each other. Montgomery to Hopel. Hopeful, a long pass there to 23 sophomore Kyle Foster. He chases after that ball, and that is bounced off of him out of bounds, and the Trojans gain possession once again.
You're starting to see some frustration at the Knights, but mainly number 0, Miles Montgomery. The second time a turnover has occurred that involved Montgomery. However, it hasn't really been on him. He's trying to get his players to move into the right lanes. They're just not doing it. We'll see if the Knights can try to work on that movement here in the second quarter.
A good defensive play by Hyder. That shot from number 23, Joe Colbert, goes over the ball and over the basket, and eventually finds its way out of bounds. Foster and Montgomery taking this ball up once again. Hyder recovering after that pass. Hyder for 3 goes up, that ball bouncing just a bit short, bounces off the front of the rim, and the Trojans come running. Number 14, Todd Myers, take that 3-point shot. Garrett's looking for that block, and foul is called.
Yet another 3-point opportunity there by Rizwan Hyder. He hasn't been able to get another one to drop since the first quarter. We'll see if he can try to take more opportunities, because soon enough they'll start hitting as he's been one of the more efficient shooters on this team. But he goes to the bench now with 7 minutes remaining here in the first half.
Todd Myers pushing through all the Knights defense.
Good defense there by the Knights, Emily, and it's been a really rough showing so far as this Trojans offense has been on fire. They scored the second most points in the division all year long, and they're coming off a 73-point performance in their last game. The Knights have to start taking advantage of when they make these stops, because it's not coming easily so far tonight.
And another shot there by number 4, Braden Nett for the Trojans. And like you said, Dom, this Trojans offense really seeming kind of unstoppable here against this game. Hopel goes back to Montgomery, unable to find a lane. Foster looking to get open, but wasn't able to. Montgomery goes back to Hopel. Hopel from deep in the paint and secures it for the Knights. Puts them up to 9 points now with 6 minutes left in the second period. Dieters again for the Trojans. Goes to Todd Myers. Myers against Anthony Hopel, and a foul is called against Hopel.
A matchup I've seen so far, Emily, on the offensive end for the Knights has been Miles Montgomery against number 4, Braden Nett, the younger brother of Andrew Nett. And Braden has been paired up with Montgomery, trying to slow him down, and he's done a great job so far. Every time Montgomery gets the ball, he's right on him, and that really limits Montgomery's game. He tries to wait and tries to find the open man. If not that, take a 3. But so far, Nett has not been giving him that opportunity, and we'll see if Montgomery can try to use some screens or maybe some other types of pick plays to create room from a really solid defender in Braden Nett.
And just as you were speaking, the Nett brothers, Andrew Nett there with the layup, putting the Trojans up to 26. Nett seeming wide open there on that ball.
Yeah, Emily, I'm not really sure what happened on the defense there. A bit of a miscommunication there as Anthony Hopel tries to continue his hot streak here in so far as first half.
Todd Myers coming quickly, and a shot from number 3, Drew Dieters. That rebound taken by the Knights and Anthony Hopel. Hopel coming quickly down the court, but slowing down as the Troy defenders get there first. Foster goes back to Montgomery. Foster looking for a lane, goes back to Montgomery. Montgomery not able to seem to find a pass. This Trojans defense doing an excellent job tonight. Foster fouled by the Trojans. He will go to the line.
Looks like this will be Kyle Foster's first free throw attempt of the season. We'll see if he can start his free throw journey off on a high note. Unable to do so, we'll try to make his second here, as that is number 44, Jim King, checking back into tonight's game.
Foster here with his second attempt King and Gerald's ready to take the rebound, and they battle, and King is able to win that ball for the Trojans. Todd Myers facing off against Matt Smallwood. He goes to Brendan Dieters. Myers. And a shot from Tyson Ludwig from the top of that arc. That ball bouncing, and Gerlitz with the rebound. Montgomery coming quickly down the court, looking to beat the Trojans' defense. Goes up for the layup. That ball bounces off the rim. Foul is called against the Knights.
It's just been that kind of night so far for Miles Montgomery. Just a couple minutes ago, we talked about how he hasn't been able to get any room. There he finally is able to create room for himself, driving through the lane past a couple of Trojan defenders. And he had the layup attempt, but he just mistimed the release, and it went off the rim as the Trojans now go to the free throw line, and they are now in bonus.
Ludwig securing that first bonus shot, and he will get a second. Taking his time here, the crowd getting excited, and Ludwig sinks that second shot to put the Trojans up to 26. Hopewell and Montgomery beginning the Knights' charge. Hopeful, aggressive against Todd Myers, but his shot bouncing against the back of the rim, and the Trojans recover. The Trojans coming quickly, led by Tyson Ludwig. A foul is called against Miles Montgomery, and he does not look very happy about that call.
He does not at all, Emily. He's starting to lose a little bit of confidence in himself. On the offensive end, he's able to get anything to drop so far. On defense, every time he goes for a steal, it's called for a foul. What Coach Davis might want to think about doing is take out his star man just for a minute or two, try to recharge on the bench, and maybe try to get his mind reset and get his confidence back for the Knights, because he is a crucial part of this offense along with Anthony Hopel. And if he's unable to get it going, the Trojans might pull away in this game.
2 points later, another successful 2 free throws from Tyson Ludwig. Montgomery to number 21 for the Knights, who passes to Hopel, and a foul is called against the Trojans. Looks like it might have been number 23, Joe Colbert, with that foul.
Trojan foul is 23, Joe Colbert. His first team on 4.
Hopel taking that pass from Montgomery and goes back to him. Montgomery driving through the Trojans' defense and secures a beautiful layup there for the Knights, putting them up to 11. That's exactly the kind of confidence that these Knights need to see from Montgomery, one of their top scorers. He needs to be able to move through the height of this Trojans defense to be able to score some points for the Knights. Brendan Dieters goes to Tyson Ludwig. Ludwig to the 6'6", Jim King. Misses that layup, and that rebound is taken by Hopel, who's moving quickly. Hopel pushing past 2 Knights defenders, and he is fouled by the Trojans.
Emily, you just mentioned the height of this Trojans team. I talked prior to the game with Coach Davis, and he said one of the biggest challenges of stopping this Trojans team and getting past this Trojans team is their height. They have multiple players over 6'3", and that creates many matchup nightmares for the Knights, both on offense and defense, as Hopel misses his first free throw attempt here with 3 minutes left in the first half.
Hopel missing his first, looking to sink the second one to narrow this gap for the Knights even more. Hopel once again missing his second. That ball rolling off the right side of the rim, and the Knights recovered that rebound taken there by number 23, Joe Colbert, for the Trojans. Drew Dieters with the ball now. Trojans hustling to get opened. Jim King goes back to Dieters. Trojans players hustling around the court. Colbert with the ball. Dieters going to 6'6", Jim King. Kane looking for a rebound, was not able to get it, but he was fouled. Kane will head to the line.
From the line all season long, Jim King's been shooting 67%, but it looks like as he's preparing to take that free throw, they called a foul on him on the play rather than vice versa. So instead, Miles Montgomery will lead a possession here for the Hal North Knights.
that rebound there, recovering from the Knights. That shot taken by number 21, Nolan Hudson. The Knights defense hollering as a foul is called against number 21, sophomore Nolan Hudson. Colbert will go to the line, misses his first shot, and that rebound is taken easily by Garrett. Montgomery goes to Hudson. Hudson, unable to find a pass, goes back to point guard Montgomery. Montgomery thinking about shooting, but shoots that pass back. And now Nolan Hudson goes for three from the top of the arc and secures. And it's a beautiful three-point shot there from sophomore Nolan Hudson for these Knights players.
Hudson has been recently called up to the team with many players either being injured or out in total. He's had to step up, and so far tonight he's done a great job making his first basket there. We'll see if he can continue to get the ball, and have more scoring opportunities for the Knights.
And after his great three-point shot, a foul is called by Nolan Hudson again. His second foul of the night, as Colbert again will go to the line. Colbert looking to extend the Trojans' lead as they currently lead 30-14 with a minute 30 left in the second period. Colbert making that first shot, going for a second. Crowd cheering for Colbert's shot. His shot bounces off the front of the rim and was covered easily by rebound leader Anthony Hopel for the Knights. Hopel back to Montgomery, who goes to Matt Smallwood. Smallwood from the corner for three. That ball bounces off the front of the rim, and the rebound comes from the Trojans. Dieters against Montgomery. Dieters firing back to the top of the arc to Todd Myers. Myers goes to Braden Net, and Dieters returns once again. A good defensive effort by the Knights. Hopel almost getting a piece of that pass, as then that ball rebounds off the ankle of John Garrett.
As we want one chance to restart for the Knights fan base. Talk about Hopel there. He's been the strongest player on both sides of the court so far for the Knights. Offensively, he leads the team in points, and on defense, he continues to put the Trojans in bad positions as that ball went out of bounds, and the Trojans were forced to restart on offense. We'll see if we can continue making them uncomfortable in the remainder of this half.
Max Smallwood there, a great effort to steal that ball, and here comes Anthony Hopel. Hopel dribbling behind him, able to secure that foul. Foul called against number 14 for the Knights. For the Trojans, excuse me, and then Anthony Hopel will go to the free throw line.
Hopel realizes that he has to take a leadership role with this team without Justin Matthews-Williams, and so far tonight he's done it, as we just talked about. And on that drive right there, he was able to use his skill and use his speed as well as his size to get to the rim and force contact. And now he made his first of two free throws, and he'll have a second here.
An easy shot there for Anthony Hopel, putting his team up to 16, narrowing that gap for the Trojans. Dieters looking for a pass, goes to Colbert. Colbert back to Dieters as they cross the half court. Dieters goes to Braden Net. The Trojans looking for a passing lane, taking their time as there's 25 seconds left in the second period. Dieters and Montgomery. Montgomery guarding him as he goes to Todd Myers. Myers pushing through the defense. Call is made against the Knights, and Dieters will take the throw in. Looking for a pass, he goes deep back in the court to Todd Myers. Myers returns the ball to him. And the Trojans look to be very at ease here with 5 seconds left in the second period. The Trojans trying to kill time as the Knights are looking to gain the ball back from him. Todd Myers from deep in the court, that ball, three-point shot bouncing off the back of the rim, and we have come to the halftime as the Trojans lead the Knights 31-16. Dominic, how do you think the Knights can improve going into the second half of this game?
Well, Emily, they have to start playing more sound defense. The Trojans have been efficient from the three-point line, from beyond three-point line, and inside the paint with guys like number 44, Jim King, as well as Andrew Nett, just carving up this Knights defense. They need to become a little bit more structured on that side of the ball. Now on offense, Rizwan Hyder is the face of the team tonight, and for most of that second quarter, he was off of the court. And Cedar Knight's all about energy, as we mentioned during the girls' game and earlier parts of the boys' game. The Knights need to be able to play off of that energy in the crowd, and they're not going to be able to get that energy back unless Rizwan's
Ladies and
on the
gentlemen, please
court.
put your hands
So in the
together
second half,
for
we'll
Varsity
see if Coach
Basketball
Davis can
Leaders.
put
Who is
Rizwan Hyder
Varsity.
back on the court
Somebody
and try to get the
celebrate,
momentum
ladies and
back
gentlemen.
in the Knights'
Open
favor.
cheers
We
and
go into the half
Varsity.
with the Knights trailing
Round
31-16
So
here in
make some
senior night.
noise and
Make sure to
dedication
come
for
back for the
round
second half, as my name
Tonight we
is Dominic
celebrate
Gosher
you.
here with Emily Hood,
Take it
bringing you
away,
tonight's
ladies.
action on FHNtoday.com/live. of Varsity night here at Francis North, with the Knights trailing by a score of 31-16 heading in to the third quarter of play. My name is Dominic Oshier. I'm here with my co-announcer Emily Hood, bringing you tonight's regular season home finale for the Knights as they take on the Troy Buchanan Trojans.
The Knights changing up the lineup here in the second period as senior Rizwan Hyder does come back into the game. And start off the match, a foul called by number 1, Tyson Ludwig, for the Trojans.
We talked a lot about Rizwan in the first half, and rightfully so, as this night is dedicated to him. But in the second quarter, he was on the bench for a little bit of a majority of the 8 minutes of play. We'll see here in the second half if Coach Davis just lets his lone senior play for almost the entirety of the second half.
Hyder going for 3. That ball close, but bouncing off the left rim of the basket, and the Trojans will continue their offensive drive.
It's been a rather lopsided game so far, as the Trojans have been the better team on both offense and defense, and the score reflects that. However, if the Knights want to get the crowd back into the game, it's going to be through Rizwan, as I mentioned at the end of the first half. When other players take a shot, you don't really hear too much, but every time Rizwan Hyder gets a rebound, makes a pass, touches the ball really, and attempts a shot, the crowd either says his name, makes some noise, and that's what they need in this second half.
Drew Shear looks for a pass going to Hyder. Hyder goes back to Montgomery. Montgomery looking for a pass. The Knights not able to break into the paint, mainly having to stay passing through the perimeter. Montgomery looking to break through the Knights' defense, goes to Shear. Shear unable to find a lane and goes back to Montgomery. Montgomery trying to direct his team, but the Trojans' defense is too strong, and the Knights drop the ball, but that ball is recovered by Drew Shear. He puts up a shot. A foul called against number 35, junior John Derlitz, for the Knights, and the Knights result in another turnover. Net throwing the ball to Dieters, and Net now passes to Dieters. A very fast pass there to Drew Dieters, who passes it up the court to Todd Myers. Andrew Net missing that three-point shot. Anthony Hopel recovering with the rebound. Miles Montgomery trying to get through, but cannot break through the height of Drew Dieters and this Trojans defense. He moves back to the perimeter, gets around Drew Dieters, goes up for that layup, but that ball unfortunately bounces around the rim and falls out, and the Trojans recover.
It was a really strong possession there for Miles Montgomery, spinning and weaving his way through the Trojans' defense. However, he got a little bit unlucky on that first time. It looked like there was a little bit of contact on the Trojans' end, but there was no foul called, and it led to a Trojans possession that ended scoreless.
Hyder there for 3, missing the rim, and Tyson Ludwig charging. A bit of an alley-oop shot there between Ludwig and Jim King, who's been a huge factor here for this Trojans offense. His height, and really the height of this entire Trojans team, being a huge asset for them.
You're right, Emily. As they missed the shot there, the 6'6" Jim King was able to get the rebound and immediately put it up right afterwards. And if he can continue that the rest of this game, it's hard to see the Knights getting back into tonight's contest.
Tyson Ludwig with the layup. That ball goes over, and Hopel coming quickly, passing to Rizwan Hyder. Hyder goes up for 3, and he sinks it. The crowd erupting, of course, for Rizzy Knight, their lone senior, putting up another 3 points on the board.
Look at the student section there, Emily. It's a 33-19 game, but the crowd is still in it, and as soon as that shot went in, every single person in that crowd got up and held up their Rizwan sign. And if he can continue to stay hot, the energy in this stadium will erupt.
Shear and Montgomery headed back for the Knights. Montgomery there looking for Gerlitz. Gerlitz puts up a shot, but that layup cannot find the net. And the Trojans continue. Dieters goes to Todd Myers, and then Myers passes it back. hopeful guarding Myers, preventing him from finding a lane. Derlett's working hard against 44 Jim King, really the only one on this Knights offense who can face him and his massive height. The Trojans struggling to find a lane here. Tyson Ludwig going up against Drew Shear. That ball recovered by Miles Montgomery, but a foul is called against junior John Derlitz.
You said it, Emily. That was great defense by the Knights there, and it gives the Trojans offense that have been strong all night so far. It's kind of a rare occurrence, but at the very end of it, when all things were going well, Garrels was called for the foul there, and that is just a mistake the Knights cannot afford to make, as Montgomery was there for the possession and the steal, but unable to keep the possession for the Knights due to a foul.
Braden Nett coming in flying there for the Trojans, securing the three-point play as he will head to the free throw line, looking a little shaken up after falling a bit over one of the Knights players. Looks like it might have been Miles Montgomery who was involved in that collision as well. Nett shaking off a little bit of pain. It looks like might be in his left hip as he prepares to take his first free throw. Max Smallwood coming in for the Knights for number 15 junior Drew Shear. Nett takes his first shot. That ball bounces around the rim. King and Derlitz fighting. Derlitz called again against the Knights. Not happy about that foul call at all against Jim King, sending him to the line. Very unhappy with that official.
He is in disbelief, Emily, and he still can't believe that foul is called against him, but it makes no difference as it'll send the 6'6" Jim King to the line.
Looks like a technical was called there against Derlitz, giving Jim King 2 more free throws. King nets both of them with ease, putting the Trojans up at 37. King getting another free throw here. Going for his fourth shot, making that, increasing their lead there to 38. The Trojans will remain in possession of this ball. A really unfortunate call there for the Knights. Not what they needed here with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third period. Todd Myers with a wide open lane there in the Knights defense, but was not able to successfully record that layup, surprisingly, and the Knights come back on offense. A fast pass from Matt Smallwood to Cameron Lewis. Smallwood comes back. Smallwood looking pass, goes to senior Rizwan Hyder. A super shooter, Rizwan Hyder puts up some more points on the board, having a fantastic senior night here for the Knights.
Right about that, Emily. And before the game, during our Facebook Live interview on the FHNtoday's Facebook account, Rizwan talked about the most important part of tonight, and that was to have fun. He knows this is his last home game of his high school career, so he wants to come out here and have a good time. And with the crowd behind him and a laundry list of shots so far, it looks like he's having a fun night, even though the score may not be in his favor, but he almost got the block there. Looks like he made contact against what looks to be number 11, Andrew Nett.
Hyder, like you said, Don, playing very aggressively with the crowd behind him, sending Andrew Nett to the free throw line, who misses his first shot, not looking very happy about that shot.
Nett's been a bit inconsistent from the free throw line this season, shooting at 54% as he makes 1 of 2 there. He's still been one of the key scorers all season long, and we talked earlier about the balance of this Trojans team. They have 4 players above the 10 points per game average. When you have a dynamic and balanced offense such as that, it makes opposing defenses really have no answer to one player because there's another one who could beat them just as evenly as the other.
Timeout there called by Troy as they currently lead FHN 39-21. The Knights here looking to regroup, trying to gain any kind of momentum that they can squeeze out of this gym headed into the 4th period. And Dom, how do you think they can gain some momentum and get some energy back into this team?
Well, Emily, it's through Hyder, as we talked about before. If they can get him some more open looks and maybe create some plays that revolve around Rizwan, maybe some layup attempts or screens that allow him to create some space. Because so far, the defense knows that it's his night and it's Rizzy's night. However, they haven't really been able to stop him from getting shooting opportunities. But if Rizwan can start hitting those and the Knights can start making plays that revolve around Rizwan making those shooting opportunities, then they can get back into this game and they can try to make a comeback effort because they're not out of this game. It's only an 18-point game. That may seem like a lot, but in previous games, the Knights were over 20 points down going into this part of the game. So we'll see if they can try to cut down this lead step by step.
Montgomery goes to Hopel, who fights against Todd Myers. Hopel going back to Matt Smallwood on the outside of the court. Smallwood goes back to Montgomery. The Knights trying to get anything going here with under 2 minutes left in the 3rd period. Montgomery goes back to Smallwood. Smallwood for 3 from deep at the top of the arc. That ball bouncing off the rim, and the rebound is recovered by 44 Jim King for the Trojans. Dieters passing to Todd Myers. Jim King coming up with a massive dunk, really using his height to his advantage. Left wide open there on the Knights defense, which is not something that they can let happen if they're trying to get back into this game.
I can't really believe I just saw that, Emily. In a high school game, you do not see that many dunks, but if you were going to see it out of someone, it was going to be King with his 6'6" height, able to create some space and get through the open lane as Rizwan Hyder tries a 3, and that goes off the rim. But King able to get up and smash it into the rim. Great job there. And even had some of the Howard North supporters clapping for the incredible play they just witnessed.
Drew Dieters here against Miles Montgomery. Todd Myers for 3. He gets that 3 shot, putting the Trojans up to 44 with just under a minute left in the 3rd period.
We talked about the balance of this Trojans offense, Emily, and they're showing it now. They can get inside and beat you, as King proved in the 2 possessions ago as Max Smallwood tries the 3, but then they can also beat you from outside.
Hyder there with a good defensive move to stop Joe Colbert. Dieters with the ball now, again to a wide open Jim King. Another dunk for Jim King. As you said, Dom, not a common thing that we see here in high school games, but Jim King using his 6'6" frame to his advantage. And a foul called there against the Trojans on Miles Montgomery, and he will get sent to the free throw line.
We went from seeing no dunks in nearly every single high school game that we live stream. Now we've seen 2 in a span of a minute. We might even see someone on an ESPN Top 10 reel by the end of tonight if King keeps it up.
The Knights struggling to have an answer for King. John Garrett, who's in earlier in the period, seemed to be the only one who might have had any kind of success against his height. Montgomery looking to take his 2nd free throw shot. He makes that one with ease, putting the Knights up to 22. 20 seconds here left in the 3rd period. Drew Dieters pushing hard against Miles Montgomery, passes to Myers. Myers back to Colbert, who goes to Jim King. Dieters looking for a pass, finds one in Brandon net, but he was not able to secure that basket. Rizwan Hyder from a long shot, missing that basket. The crowd on their feet, hoping they could find some success for their favorite senior. And the Knights trailed the Trojans 46-22 at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Emily, if that shot would have gone in, this place would have exploded, even though, as you just mentioned, it's a 24-point game. If Rizwan would have hit that half-court shot at the buzzer, every single person would have been on their feet. He was unable to do so, and that is how the third quarter ends.
The Knights making some lineup changes again here in this fourth period, entering in John Darrett and Nathan Hudson. So, Dom, what do you think the Trojans have done well here in this match?
Well, Emily, they have done pretty much everything well. As King was going for his third rebound of the game, and that's one of the things they've done well. They've been able to get the ball inside to King with really tight window passes, as they proved there, and just one of the many traits of this offense, how creative everyone on the court can be and how balanced they are. That's one of the main reasons why they're up tonight, as well as on defense with King guarding the interior. No one can really drive, as he has a height advantage on every single player on the Knights, and it's just been a long night for FHN due to this strong Trojans defense.
King securing his second free throw after making his first. And the Knights move down the court once again, led by Miles Montgomery. Montgomery for three, putting up a high, bouncing off the top of the rim. Drew Shear fighting for that rebound against the Trojans, but they are able to recover. Now the Trojans move quickly down the field, led by Braden Net. Net goes to Jim Colbert. Colbert looking for a lane. Todd Myers goes up for three. That ball bouncing off the back of the rim, but Jim Kane recovers. Caden covered nicely by John Darrett as they are forced to go back to the top of the arc. A shot by Braden Net. A beautiful three-pointer goes in as the Trojans reach 50, currently leading the Knights 50-22. A long pass there from Miles Montgomery to Nathan Hudson. And a layup attempt by Drew Shear. That shot will not count, but he is fouled and heads to the line. Excuse me, Drew Shear will not head to the line. Miles Montgomery passing that ball back in. Montgomery trying to drive, but was not able to pass. Nathan Hudson from the top of the arc for three. The new sophomore putting up some points for the Knights, bringing them to 25.
He's now attempted 2 3-pointers, and he's made them both. We'll see if Coach Davis starts to realize that Hudson may be on his game tonight. As he gets a steal there, if he can keep it in, Drew Shear bounced it off his face, and that goes out of play for a Trojans possession. On offense, Hudson's been consistent from beyond the arc. We'll see if he can continue to get the ball, but the fans want Rizwan Hyder back in this game. We'll see if Coach Davis listens as the minutes wind down.
Jim King again with the layup, putting the Trojans back up at 52. John Darrett's unable to block him there as Miles Montgomery looking for a lane. Can't find one, goes to Anthony Hopel outside. Hopel from the top of the paint. That ball rebounding far back and was covered by the Trojans. A fast pass is blocked by Nathan Hudson, but the Trojans recover. King for three. That ball rolling around the rim. Excuse me, that was Andrew Net with that shot. And Jim King with the final layup to put them up to 54.
With district starting in just a few weeks, it's so important for players to have that go-to guy in order to continue their season and get far into the postseason. And the Trojans have that guy at number 44, Jim King. He has shown tonight why he is one of the best players in the area and in the division, and has carried the Trojans to a huge lead here as Miles Montgomery makes his first of two.
Montgomery looking for a second. The Knights looking to get a fast rebound here and possibly even have their scoring opportunity lengthened. But that Miles Montgomery sinks his second shot, and the Trojans begin again. Dieters firing to Ben Torres. Dieters looking for round for pass, finds it in Andrew Net. Net from the top of the arc. Net will get 2 and bring his team to 56. Miles Montgomery looking to drive, fires to Nathan Hudson for 3, who goes up. That rebound recovered by Miles Montgomery, and he is fouled by number 11, Andrew Net.
Great possession there for junior Miles Montgomery. He was able to pass it all the way across the court over to a wide open Nolan Hudson that no one else saw except him. I don't know how he was able to get that ball off, but then he was able to get the rebound for FHN, and then another great skillful spin move that led to him being fouled and getting another trip to the line.
Montgomery missing his first, looking a little upset, but going up, nailing his second perfectly, putting the Knights back up at 28. The crowd looking for their favorite senior Rizwan Hyder for the Knights, as we have 5 minutes and 13 seconds left in the fourth period. Andrew Net being guarded by Miles Montgomery. Gerlitz with the rebound. Net's shot bouncing around the rim. Montgomery looking to drive, going up against 3 defenders. Gets the 3-point play for the Knights, heads to the line once again.
As you see there, a clap out of frustration from Montgomery. He's done all the moves right tonight. He's laid perfect passes, but it just hasn't worked out in terms of scoring for him tonight. He's able to get that one to drop in an and-one opportunity, but overall on the night, it's been a frustrating night for the Knights' star point guard.
The officials there discussing the call. Foul called against Drew Dieters. And Montgomery securing the 3 points for his team, bringing the Knights to 29. Drew Dieters looking to fire that ball to Chris King, but his pass he cannot connect. Anthony Hopel, though, connects beautifully with Miles Montgomery, who is fouled, looking to go up for that layup.
Great effort there on defense, and you're starting to see Miles Montgomery really come out of his shell tonight, and he's starting to lead the team on offense, driving to the hoop on nearly every possession, and the Trojans defense can't slow him down other than sending him to the line. We'll see the Knights try to continue to feed Miles Montgomery here in the closing minutes of tonight's game.
So, Dom, who do you think the key players are for the Knights to be able to have them go far here in the postseason with districts coming up?
Well, Emily, on the other side of the court, we mentioned it was King. For the Knights, it's 2 players. Without Justin Matthews-Williams, it's a duo of Anthony Hopel and Miles Montgomery. They've been the stars tonight along with Rizwan Hyder, but they need to keep it going as they're the leading scorers on this team, both averaging over 10 points a game. Montgomery certainly has the talent to do so. If he can get off to hot starts in those district games and maybe have a strong first quarter, you can see his confidence be altered. And when he's a confident player, he's a great player, and he's proven that here in this fourth quarter. On Hopel's side, he's one of the more balanced players on this team. Offensively, he nails most of his shots, and he averages the most points per game. And on defense, he's strong as well, averaging over 1.5 steals a game. If those two can keep it going and stay strong going into districts, they could help lead the Knights into a strong postseason.
Braden Net there securing your 3-pointer. Trojans about to break 60 here at 59. Miles Montgomery looking for pass, goes to Hopel on the other end of the court. Hopel trying to drive, going to Nathan Hudson. His 3-point shot bouncing around the rim. That ball bouncing off of Anthony Hopel, and the Trojans will gain possession with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth period. The crowd getting loud as Hyder coming in for number 35, John Garrett's the senior knight, playing out his final few minutes of his last home game here at Francis Howell North.
Look to see a multitude of shots from Rizwan Hyder. Nicole Zumins, as he said, he would not be happy unless he made tonight a memorable night. We'll see if he can make it such as that layup goes in with 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Montgomery for three, that ball bouncing off the right of the rim. Drew Dieters trying to push that ball quickly to Braden Net, but that pass goes very far wide. The Knights recover, and Hopel goes up for three. His shot bouncing around the rim and not able to go in. Dieters slowing that ball down after a charge from Braden Net. Andrew Net for three, and he secures it, bringing the Trojans to 64. A strong performance tonight from the Net brothers.
Well, Emily, we've seen a lot of dunks, which are out of the ordinary, and now we've seen a foul on an assistant coach. It might have been the JV coach Eubank there that is responsible for the foul. You don't see that often in the high school game, but it looks like, well, Emily, it looks like Eubank's been ejected from tonight's game.
Head Coach Davis there talking with the officials. The entire coaching staff looking very confused by the call as Eric Eubank exits the gym for the Knights. And for that call, Drew Dieters will get a free throw shot, and he makes that with ease, bringing his team to 65. Dieters making his second free throw shot, and the Trojans will continue possession.
Looks like, Emily, the Trojans are starting to put in their second team as they're resting King and some of their other key players for the big district run coming up in the coming weeks.
Andrew Net missing that free throw shot, that ball bouncing out of bounds, and the Knights will regain possession. Timeout called there for Howell North, trying to end a bit of the confusion. Has been a very eventful past minute for the Knights as we have broken the 3-minute mark. And Dom, what do you think the Trojans have done well this game to lead them to their 66 points?
Well, Emily, they have stayed disciplined. Besides a couple of fouls on Miles Montgomery, who was heading to the hoop in the later stages of this half, they've been really disciplined on the defensive side of the ball, avoiding fouls and avoiding giving the Knights free trips to the line.
Hopel from the top of the paint. Drew Shear trying multiple times there to knock Hopel's shot in, but unfortunately could not get in. The Trojans recovering, but under pressure from the Knights. Brendan Dieters taking the ball down the court. And a shot fired to Andrew Net, who puts up the layup, bringing the Trojans to 68. Rizwan Hyder, and a huge three there for the senior Rizwan Hyder, of course, from who else on his great senior night that's having a fantastic performance tonight.
I don't know how that shot went in. It was from a mile out, but Rizwan Hyder, when he is playing confident, he is effective. In our interview with him earlier in the day, he wore a shirt to the interview that said, "Feels like Kobe," and that doesn't symbolize confidence. I don't know what does. We'll see if they can continue to feed him the ball as he's wide open from the three-point line. If Kyle Foster can find him.
Timeout, Almora. End of the game.
Foster finally finds Shear, but unfortunately a called timeout by Coach Davis of the Francis Howell North Knights. Nolan Hudson, who has been finding success from the top of the arc, heads in for the Knights, looking to help gain a few points and hopefully narrow this gap that the Trojans have created. Foster finding Hudson. Hudson finding Hyder. Hyder going for three on his three-point night, bouncing off the front of the rim. Smallwood gets the rebound, but unfortunately cannot secure that layup, and the Trojans head back on the offensive drive. Brendan Dieters going to Joe Colbert. Colbert to Tyson Ludwig. Ludwig with the layup and secures it, bringing the Trojans to an impressive 70 points.
Emily, we talked before the game about this Trojans offense. As Rizwan tries the three, but it's off the rim. But this Trojans offense has been electric all year long, scoring over 1,300 points. You can make it 1,380 now, and that has been one of the key reasons why they are second in the JAC South and are strong favorites heading in to the district's tournament.
Ludwig faces off against Smallwood. Ludwig goes to Griffin St. Pierre. Brendan Dieters goes back to Ludwig. Ludwig with a completely open lane passes to Joe Colbert. Colbert goes back to Brendan Dieters. The Trojans looking to kill time here with under 25 seconds left in the first period. The Knights looking for anything to try and gain some possession back and hopefully get the ball to their favorite senior to allow him to have a few more shots in this game. Brendan Dieters killing even more time. 5 seconds left. The crowd getting on their feet to cheer on an honorable Knights performance as they exit the court. The Knights going down on their senior night to the Trojans 70-36, but an impressive performance coming from the senior Rizwan Hyder, shooting and scoring many threes for his Knights team.
Right about that, Emily. It was one of the more wild nights all year here at FHN, and one of the more energetic crowds that we've seen at Howell North all year long, and it's because of number 31, Rizwan Hyder. The score may not have ended as he had hoped, that it was 70-36 in favor of the Trojans, but he was firing shots all night long, and every time he made one, the crowd got onto their feet. It was fun to watch, and between the Rizwan shots and all of the dunks that we saw from King, it was a truly entertaining game despite the score maybe saying otherwise.
And for FHN Today Live, I'm Emily Hood here with my co-announcer Dominic Hosher. Thank you for tuning in to this boys basketball senior night.